All right. Welcome, viewers, to the Klipsch Holiday Shopping live stream event. Today, we're going to be talking about some fantastic products, audio gifts for that special person in your life that loves music or movies. Or if it's for yourself, we're going to have some industry experts to talk about some great features and answer any questions. And we're going to be giving away some product today. So stay tuned. We're going to go for about an hour. Every 15 minutes, we're going to bring on a new special partner to talk about a different category and product. First up, we're going to bring on Nick from Audio Advice. Nick is going to be talking about one of our major brands here at Premium Audio Company, and that is Onkyo, specifically the very popular RZ series. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having me, Marcus, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Awesome. So, Nick, you are a designer, you're an audiophile, you build a lot of systems. What do you love about the Onkyo RZ series?
Yeah. So, we're all kind of hobbyists here as well as, do this for a living. But the RZ series is fantastic. So they're some of my favorite, and I use affordable loosely because everything's relative. But generally speaking, they're my favorite affordable receiver to use in home theaters, from entry level all the way up to, the middle to higher end.
Nice. And when he talks about affordable, he's mentioning products between $1,000 and $3,000 price point,
Yeah.
which is our AVR lineup. What makes it great, there's three models, the RZ30, which is the newest one, kind of the entry-level price point, the RZ50, and then the flagship RZ70, which I believe is one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, we use the RZ70 a lot. And again, I work as a dedicated theater designer, so we do a lot of 11-channel systems. A 724 is one of the more common ones that I do. But even if you don't have a 724 and you want to start out with, say, a 524 or 522, getting a really good foundation piece that's got a great amplifier section, great DACs, all the features that you want is really crucial in a system like that.
Yeah, that's a great one. And one of the cool things about the RZ70 is when he talks about those numbers, so 5.2, 7.2, the first number is the number of speakers that you're going to power. The second one is subwoofers. And on the RZ70, we have independent subwoofer banks, which means you have a left sub and a right sub, and they're independently controlled. So if you're watching a movie like Jurassic Park or Top Gun Maverick, the bass will follow it around the room. It's a very great, gives you a very nice immersive experience.
Yeah, well, with independent subs, the nice thing is you can really calibrate them independently because you don't want two subs playing the exact same thing as if they're in the same position in the room. You want them to be calibrated independently. So if we have one in the front left corner and it's got a little cutout and the room's not 100% symmetrical, and you've got one in the right corner, so you want to be able to treat those two independently. And that's the beautiful thing, especially whenever you start to bring in Dirac, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But whenever you bring in Dirac, you can independently calibrate those subs and really tailor it to the room, get super tight bass, super accurate bass that feels like it's kind of running through you.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned Dirac room correction, so I'm going to let you continue down that path.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is somewhere where you can either get really deep and on the weeds, or we can kind of hit this on a surface level. But generally speaking, with room correction, all right, on the simple level, every frequency interacts inside of a room. So sometimes a certain frequency is higher, sometimes a certain frequency is lower. Our goal is to have everything on the same exact level. Now, with Dirac, what it does is it plays a test tone, it measures where those frequencies are, and it levels those out. So you can actually have a very smooth response inside the room. So what you hear is a lot of dialogue clarity. So you see an increase in that. It's compensating for a lot of the reflections that are bouncing around. You get tighter bass and overall just better location accuracy for your sound.
Well said. Well said. For those of you that aren't familiar with home theater setups, you want every seat to have the same type of audio experience. And when we talk about frequencies, they're all different wavelengths, which means high frequencies are very small and bass frequencies are very large. That's why when that teenager drives past your house and he's got subwoofers in the trunk of his car, you don't hear any music. You just hear bass rattling your windows. Bass travels through furniture, and it's usually the hardest thing to control, which is why it's so important to have room correction for your bass response in the room. Yeah. Now, the other things these also have are certifications such as THX, and IMAX Enhance. Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, so specifically, I think IMAX Enhance is the one that a lot of people really overlook because they kind of just think it's a badge of honor. And that's originally like that's how it kind of started out for some pieces, but really it's gone way past that. So DTSX and IMAX Enhance, IMAX is kind of building onto DTSX. And so with that, you can have sort of a certification level. Now with the certification, you just have to have a system that has a source that's IMAX enhanced. You have to have a playback system that's IMAX enhanced, and a receiver. So with that, if you are on like Disney Plus and it has THX, or excuse me, IMAX enhanced, and your Android device able to play it, and your Onkyo receiver is able to play it, then really you can get the enhanced format. So that goes from video and audio. So on the audio side, you just get a little bit better. Well, I say a little bit better, but in some cases it's substantial, but you get better overall immersive object-based surround sound, which is just sounds floating throughout the room, and you get deeper bass impact, which is really cool.
Super cool. Now, when it comes to the badge of honor, we talked about probably the biggest badge of honor with any product, and that is power. So the power rating on our RZ series, in my opinion, is pretty great. They are all above 100 watts a channel, but I believe you have some experience with maybe some reviews we've had on our Pinnacle line, the RZ70.
Yeah, well, we're going from, let's see, 100 watts on the RZ30, 120 on the RZ50, and 140 on the RZ70. And so, again, if people have been in this market before, they realize that not all measurements are equal, and in some cases they can be a little bit misleading. That said, I work with a lot of people who do measurements. I work with some of the reviewers. So one of my good friends is Gene from Audioholics, and so he interviewed but he measured the RZ70, and he calls me up and he's like, "Man, this thing is no slouch." He's like, "You've got to try it in the price point." One of the best AVRs, which I don't want to put words in his mouth or use him for that, but he was really impressed with it, and so that kind of led me on to looking into it. And since then, I mean, we've been, again, at that price point, I've been doing pitching nothing but RZs since then. So they've been really, really great for smaller theaters that need that don't need separate amplifiers, and you just want plenty of power.
Fantastic. So when it comes to building a theater, and for example, let's say we're starting out, right? We're doing a gift event today. So I want to get a theater for either my living room or maybe even a dedicated theater. What's a good starting point? Like, where do I begin that journey?
Well, it just depends. So for us, we always recommend talking to a designer. That's what I do. So our main goal, and it always really has been our main goal, is to educate our clients. So whenever they come in and they're saying, "Hey, I want to start this journey," we want to be able to take the system from where you are now in terms of budget, or where you want to be in 5 years. So we try to think of this as a scalable sort of manner. So if you're saying, all right, you've talked to a designer in your rooms, say I'm stuck on 9 channels, just go with a 9-channel AVR in some cases. Or if you want better performance, go up to an 11-channel, you get better amp sections, better DACs, all the things that come along with it. But really what we're going to try to find something is we want to find a way to future-proof it. So that's my biggest recommendation. So if you're starting out with a 5.1 and you see yourself getting into this hobby and expanding, which good chance you will, that's how we all get hooked, I would recommend going about as good as you can go. And instead of taking that budget and smearing it across a bunch of small things, start with the bigger things and just scale up as you go through. But so yeah, long story short, if you can go with the RZ70, you got my badge of honor. Go with the RZ70.
That is a great one. I own an RZ70. It is probably overkill for what I currently have. But the great thing, as you said, is you want to get products, especially when you invest that type of money, that you can grow into without growing out of. So if you want to add those Atmos speakers or go to a 7-channel surround sound, you have the ability to do that. Now, with you guys on Audio Advice, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do differently and where our customers can go to shop with you?
Yeah, so of course, we have our locations in North Carolina. So we're in Raleigh, Charlotte, North Carolina, and newly Wilmington, North Carolina. But we try to take that same experience and take it all over the country. So we do remote installations, but a large part of what we do is a big DIY approach. So again, the education of the customer. So we have our home theater tool on our website. So I highly recommend everybody check that out if they haven't already. But
What is that
essentially,
website?
audioadvice.com.
There you
And
go.
so if you go into the home theater design section, you can go and start laying out your theater room from sort of a basic level. So it's usually restricted to rectangles and squares, but it does very, very good. So with that, you can kind of decide your seating area, what speaker configuration, and the tool automatically tells you where to place things. Because you wouldn't believe how many people I've seen with thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear that it's placed wrong. So from there, if we want to take a more custom approach, they come over to our design team. So we have an online design team where we can go through, take a customized approach, DIY. So we do renderings, tell you where to put all of the speakers. And once you get it, we also help with remote calibration. So really, we don't want to leave people up to dry, especially after they've spent a good portion of their money. We want to have support along the way. So we help with every single aspect of the theater. We're a one-stop shop.
That is fantastic. And one of my favorite shops. And for anyone watching, if you've not been to their shop in North Carolina, if you're in the area, please stop by. And I believe you guys do a show once a year. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we do a little show every once a year. We have Audio Advice Live, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we rent out the entire Sheraton Hotel. We have multiple floors of really high-end audio experiences and high-end video experiences, and we take a really particular approach on home theater. So we take these big ballrooms, and part of it's a small team. So we're all sitting here trying to rack our brains on how we go better and better. So this year we've had some really crazy theaters. PAC Klipsch was there, and they came in a big way. And so we had some, everything from 200-inch screens down to TVs there. So we try to make a whole smorgasbord of experiences for clients. So we're going to be announcing some stuff on that soon, but usually we're around the August time frame. So if you can, it's worth making a trip. We had people come out from all over the country last year, and everyone loved it.
Awesome. It is one of my favorite shows. And for our viewers, this is a customer show. There's a lot of audio shows where every vendor shows up and we're all showcasing our newest, latest, and greatest. This is dedicated for customers. So if you're in the area, you got to try. There are people that come from literally all over the world to this show in North Carolina. It is an absolute blast. Now, Nick, we're coming close to time, and I believe we're also going to do a giveaway for any of our viewers. How are we going to pick who gets some product?
Yeah. So, throughout all of this, I'm sure you guys are going to have questions. So what I want you to do is put some questions down in the chat, and we're giving away a really good prize. Marcus, can I go ahead and tell them what we're giving away?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're giving away my choice piece of the RZ70. I specifically asked that we give this piece away because I love it that much. So if you guys have questions for us or questions throughout the entire stream, go ahead and put them in the comment section. And at the end, I think that, Marcus, are we going to reach out to the audience member? So yeah, at the end, we'll reach out to you, but we're going to try to go through afterwards, answer some of those questions that you may have. So make sure you put those in there. We hope to get to all the questions afterwards, but with an RZ70 on the line, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yes. And if you don't know what that is, do yourself a favor, look up RZ70, do your own homework, check out some reviews. The reviews are phenomenal, but that is a heck of a giveaway product to start this live stream off.
Yeah. We're really excited. You guys also have some awesome deals going on right now. So for those of you who are out there, I implore you to go to audioadvice.com and check them out. But we've got the whole RZ series on sale currently, everywhere from 29%, everywhere from 17% to 29% off. So there's some good deals out there right now.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, Nick, thank you so much. Team, check out Audio Advice Live. We appreciate you coming on and taking some time to share your expert opinions with our viewers. And please ask Nick any question you want. You're going to get an answer from a true professional and expert in the industry. And then that's how we'll pick who gets the RZ70.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. And I'll be backstage watching the rest of this.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Okay, that was awesome. That's a heck of a way to start it off. So the AVR being the heart of a system, well, you can't have a system without speakers. So the AVR, we started with that because that's what powers it and controls and processes everything. So now let's talk about some speakers. And who better to talk about stereo speakers than Worldwide Stereo? Let's bring them in. Awesome. Welcome, gentlemen. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Ron from Worldwide Stereo.
I am Dave from Worldwide Stereo.
Welcome, Ron and Dave. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about Worldwide Stereo? Where are you guys? What makes you special?
Cool. So first, I just want to thank everybody for watching tonight. This is awesome. And thank you, Marcus and Team Klipsch for the invite. I greatly appreciate that. So we're what I would refer to as the original mom and pop shop. We opened up in 1979. I'm not Pop, but I'm one of the original guys. So I've been here from the beginning. I was actually driving by the store right when they opened. I needed a better job of myself through college, and I've been here ever since, having a blast. We're located about an hour north of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, in a town called Montgomeryville, and we have our design showroom that's just been all redone. We've got the latest and greatest audio and video, thin panel television, shading, all the fancy lighting, a lot of lanes of the highway that we help our clients with. Our team has, from a knowledge standpoint, we were just talking about the other day, we're probably well over 400 years of experience in that showroom, which is pretty neat. And we're getting ready to open up a new showroom. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Getting ready to open up a new showroom next year, probably before the summer, down in Wayne, which is pretty neat. So we're excited about that. I think for us, I know for me, I think the favorite part of our job is like when you meet a client for the first time. That's like my rush. Like from the point of contact, you start listening to them. Maybe you're in their family room and they're talking about doing a media room, and we're talking about focal points and how we can integrate that system into the family room. Give them that great picture, awesome sound quality, and I think for me that's like what I love doing. I know a lot of the guys are on that same page, so I think that sort of how we're wired as a company. Been doing it a long time.
Fantastic. So we talked about, obviously, audio systems. We just got done talking about the Onkyo RZ series. You guys are going to walk us through a little bit of our Klipsch reference series. And for those that don't know, the reference series is our entry level into the world of Klipsch. So we always say happiness is black and copper, and your first step into true happiness is looking at our reference series. Can you guys walk me through? Let's talk about where would you start with an audio system? You mentioned a living room. Where do you start?
Yeah, the good news is, as you can see in the picture there, the Klipsch offers speakers that are $400 a pair, $500 a pair. Klipsch is very efficient. So what that means to you is you don't need to spend a ton of money on electronics, and there's very little distortion. They sound awesome. So to start your journey, again, you can just have a pair of little bookshelf speakers. Maybe a lot of people are Sonos customers. You could get a little Sonos amp, put a pair of those speakers, and you're off and running. If you're thinking of doing home theater, you could grab your Onkyo receiver, and you could start with a pair of speakers, and it's scalable. Add the center channel, add the rear speakers, add the subwoofer, add the Atmos speakers. So it's something you can build with over time. Yeah, that's a great call out. And for our viewers that aren't familiar with some of the terminology, like when we talk about efficiency, that is how easily a speaker can produce volume. So if it's very efficient, to exactly what you said, you don't need a lot of power to get the volume that you want. Like you mentioned, the Sonos amp. So you've got a little over 100 watts of Class D power. With our Onkyo AVRs, we step into Class AB, and our Onkyo AVRs are Works with Sonos certified. So if you guys are already Sonos lovers, you can put a Sonos port on an Onkyo AVR, stay in your favorite app, and control the system. Now, onto the reference series. One of the things I like about this system is they're very versatile. We have a lot of different options. What are some of your favorite options for a customer that's either starting a new system, like we just talked about, or even expanding onto one? Well, one of the speakers I like are the 8060s. So we talked about Atmos briefly. So these would be a pair of tower speakers as your front, left, and right. And then they have the Atmos speakers already built in. So even if you're starting out with just a Sonos amp and a pair of speakers, you can put your favorite tunes in there and it's going to sound awesome. But if you decide to upgrade to a home theater system, now you already have these speakers ready to go. Instead of installing something up in the ceiling, you already have them on the top. And then you can add, again, a center channel, a subwoofer, rear speakers, and then complete your home theater journey.
Yeah, that is awesome. The 8060 is one of my favorite speakers in all of Klipsch because, like you said, everything's built in. That's our flagship from the Reference Premier line. What does make that speaker unique is it reflects the audio off the ceiling to give you that Atmos sound. And more today, you're finding that even streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, you can stream in real Atmos now. So that all of that content is available where previously you kind of virtualized it. So it wasn't as impactful, but almost everything has that today. I'm going to shift gears into the subwoofer lineup because I think most people, whether they're listening to bass music or some action movie, they really want to have a good subwoofer. So we have 2 options in our reference line, and then we've got 4 in our reference premier line. Why don't you guys walk me through those?
Well, we do in our showroom, we do the reference premier line. So they make an RP 1000, a 1200, and then a 1400, real big. I mean, if you love bass, you're going to be a Klipsch fan.
Yeah.
You turn them on, your pan legs are going to vibrate. You watch Top Gun, as you said. Oh, it's awesome.
What is the difference between, if you can walk us through this a little bit for our customers? So I'm shopping for a subwoofer. I've got the reference line. I've got the reference premier. What am I getting? Right? They both produce bass. What am I achieving when I go up or spend more money?
Well, depending on the size of the room is generally how you decide which subwoofer. Of course, there has to be maybe an acceptance factor from other members of the family if you don't want something really, really large in the room. But you're going to get better sound, especially for music. Maybe you listen to rock music and you want to hear that kick drum. You want to hear the tightness of the bass. You want it to sound more natural. That's what the reference premier subs are going to give you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So our reference premier, you mentioned the models. We have 4 options there, from a 10-inch, 12-inch, 14, and even an 800-watt 16-inch sub, which is one of our favorites. We have those at our headquarters. We also take those on the road for a lot of shows, but it does get a little pricey. In the reference lineup, we do have a 10 and a 12-inch model. You're going to have great bass for the money, probably the best value that we have in the subwoofer world. But as you go up the lineup, like he said, your bass is going to be more accurate. So instead of a boomy bass when you're listening to, let's say, a kick drum, it's going to sound more accurate, clean, tight, because the woofer material recovers quicker. So it sounds more like an actual kick drum. So there, you can spend a lot of money on subs. One of the things I always have a question on, or it comes up a lot in the chat, is it better to have one big sub or multiple small subs? What do you guys think?
I like multiples. I think try and get as many in the room as you can. I think that's sort of where the industry is leaning right now. So I think what do you think?
I mean,
at least a couple.
Yeah, usually I'll tell people you can start with one. So I forget the name of the gentleman who went before me, but what he was saying, again, it's about calibration. So depending on the size of your room, if you're doing a home theater, let's say you have 8 seats, seat number 1, seat number 8. If you only do one sub, chances are you're going to have different experiences in the bass. When you do 2 subs, it's not really about just more volume. It's about better coverage. So again, start with 1, see how it works out. You can always add the second, and that's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to get great coverage no matter where you sit.
I think you touched on a little bit, Marcus. Oh, sorry. I think you touched on a little bit, which is cool. You mentioned the word value, and I think for Klipsch, it's just from a value standpoint, the sound, the presence. They just always sound great, and it's a very affordable speaker. And we have customers. We've been a partner with Klipsch for. I think we were talking about it before we got on. It's well over like a couple of decades and counting. So it's just we've got a lot of clients that just have Klipsch speakers and love them.
And speaking of good value, we have Dave's Pick on our website,
right.
worldwidestereo.com. It's a 5.1 system. It's got towers. It's got your RP1000 subwoofer. You got a center channel, the 504 center, which is awesome, and a pair of bookshelves for the rear. $2,600 on sale. It's awesome.
Now I got to pause you there because you mentioned I would say what I would tell any customer, the most important speaker in a system, which is the center channel. You mentioned the 504. Walk our customers through that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have a difficult time if you don't have a sound system, or maybe you have a sound bar. You have a difficult time understanding what people say, especially if they're whispering. The Klipsch center speakers, you're never going to have that experience. They're very articulate. The 504 is awesome. You turn that on and you'll hear everything. You'll hear everything that they're saying. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that is my the highlight of most of the systems we design. So at our headquarters, we have the 504. It's called the 504C because it has 4 5-inch drivers in one center channel speaker. So you hear absolutely every bit of detail. It's very light and airy. I love this product. It has a Klipsch horn-loaded tweeter right in the middle. It is a little bit bigger box, but you get a tremendous sound from it. And in the lineup, we do have different options as far as size. So if you have a fireplace or you don't have a lot of depth, we have option for pretty much anything. But a center channel is extremely important because, like we said, that is where all of the dialogue comes from. Now, guys, I believe we are also going to give away some product today, and we have a holiday themed giveaway. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so every year in our showroom, we have this debate, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And this has been going on for years. Is it? Is it not? Whatever. So what we'd like everybody to do is just get in the chat, give us some creative feedback on Die Hard being a Christmas movie, and then we're going to select the winner. And the winner's going to get a pair of our 50 PMs, which are a small bookshelf speaker, like 240 watts of peak power. They're probably about maybe 12 inches high, 8 inches wide. They got a phono preamp built into them. They jam with great bass. You can Bluetooth into them. What did I miss, Marcus? Did I cover everything on that speaker?
You covered pretty much everything. So for our listeners and viewers, these are a self-powered speaker.
Yes.
So it's everything you need in one box. They do have a phono stage, which means you hook up a turntable, anything that is a moving magnet turntable, plug it right in, and you're good to go. These also have TV connections, so it's a all-in-one product. It's awesome, but we do want to hear the most creative reason as to why you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think it's a Christmas movie. I love it. My wife would tell you otherwise. She does not think it's a Christmas movie.
I think it is. I love it too. I'm with you, Marcus.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Team, go into the chat. Tell us why you love Die Hard. Thank you guys for joining.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Happy holidays, everybody.
All right. So we've touched on AVRs. We talked about some speakers. What else is there? So one of the best gifts for anyone during the holidays can be an